Imagine this for a second. If a president stood before his nation's parliament and announced that he would unleash 1 million chickens across the land, what would your reaction be? You'd probably laugh, think he's lost his mind, or dismiss it as political theater. But what if I told you this crazy idea changed everything? Burkina Faso, a land of hard-working farmers, where men, women, and children toil under the burning sun, planting seeds, irrigating fields, and dreaming of golden harvests, faced a nightmare that returned year after year. Just as the crops ripened, the skies darkened, not with rain, but with swarms of locusts that descended like a black storm, devouring entire fields in hours, leaving behind nothing but dust, broken stalks, and shattered hopes. Farmers who had sacrificed everything woke up to hunger, debt, and despair. And the so-called solution from foreign experts was expensive chemicals imported from Europe. Poisons that temporarily killed pests but destroyed the soil, polluted water, and trapped farmers in endless poverty and dependency. Into this hopeless cycle stepped Ibrahim Traoré, young, bold, and unafraid of ridicule, who stood before Parliament and declared, "Our army will not carry guns. Our soldiers will not be men. Our weapon will be chickens." Laughter erupted. Newspapers mocked him as a clown. Western analysts dismissed it as madness. But he was serious, for he knew that a single chicken devours hundreds of insects daily, and multiplied by millions, they could become a living army. Soon, instead of toxic sprays, villagers saw flocks of chickens released into their fields. And at first they doubted, but soon they watched in awe as the birds pecked relentlessly, turning the swarms that once destroyed crops into their daily feast. The fields survived, the soil healed, and the farmers no longer needed costly imports. But the miracle went further than anyone had imagined. The chickens did not just fight pests. They laid eggs that became a steady source of nutrition. They multiplied into new flocks. They provided meat, income, and stability to homes that once had nothing. Mothers who had struggled for years now carried baskets of eggs to the market, earning money with dignity. Children who once went to bed hungry now had protein-rich meals that made them stronger and healthier. Farmers who once drowned in endless debt now found themselves not just surviving, but thriving. Villages that had long been filled with silence, despair, and hopelessness were suddenly alive again, buzzing with the sounds of clucking, with the laughter of children, with the energy of people who had rediscovered hope. Yet even as this quiet revolution spread across Burkina Faso, the outside world continued to laugh. Foreign media printed sarcastic headlines about Africa's chicken war, mocking the very idea of birds as soldiers. Critics accused Traoré of wasting money, of turning his country into a joke. But when the young president was asked to respond, he spoke words that silenced even his harshest doubters. The real waste is not chickens. The real waste is children going hungry. True inflation is not prices. It is empty stomachs. Those words echoed through the land, and people began to see the chickens not as simple birds, but as guardians of their fields, protectors of their families, and symbols of a new kind of freedom. This was no longer about locusts. It was about something far greater. It was about independence, about breaking the chains of dependency, about proving that a nation considered small and weak could stand tall and solve its own problems without bowing to foreign corporations or imported solutions. Thus, e-chickens became a living symbol of dignity, of resilience, of the African spirit refusing to be broken. And slowly, the mocking voices grew quieter. Even international analysts who once ridiculed the plan were forced to admit, if this experiment continued to succeed, it could transform not just Burkina Faso but the entire region, inspiring others to rethink the way they battled hunger, poverty, and exploitation. 1 million chickens against billion-dollar industries sounded absurd, but the absurdity itself was the proof. For sometimes the simplest, most overlooked answers are the ones with the power to change history. Ibrahim Traoré showed the world that true leadership is not about copying others, but about trusting your own land, your people, and your traditions. He turned ordinary chickens into an extraordinary army, and in doing so he gave his people something that no amount of imported chemicals could ever buy: real hope. And so the question remains for all of us. If one young leader could transform chickens into soldiers that saved an entire nation, what overlooked, crazy solutions might be hiding in plain sight in your own country? Because the truth is, the very things we laugh at today may be the very things that change the world tomorrow. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it with your friends, because stories like these deserve to be heard. Together, we can spread hope, ideas, and courage across the world.